Hey guys, happy Candle Day, part 2/day 2. So yeah, of course I made my runs today. I was like, you know, it's Saturday, let me just go around and do the whole like pilgrimage of going around to all these stores in the region. And that is what I did. And I found most of all the juicy stuff that I was looking for, except for the very last priority was nowhere to be found. When I asked the stores, they either A, had no idea what Blueberry Marshmallow Bar or any of those amethyst ones were, or if they did know, they said they just never got them in shipment and it was delayed, so none of those in my region. But thank you to everybody who joined the Instagram live last night, because a lot of you guys were able to find those candles. I'm so happy for you guys. It was a lot of fun on the live because we were just all like getting together and sharing our finds. And Miguel was very helpful. He was able to find all the last priority candles all just out in one go, like from the very first day. And so a lot of the people in the region that he also lived in were on the Instagram live, or were able to locate the store and go to the store and get in themselves. So super happy for all of you guys who found those later priority candles all in one swipe. So lucky. So yes, but yeah, so I have most of that Hibernation Station collection with me, the ones that I wanted, and then I found all of the there was the like fabric one, and then the leather one is also in here as well. And then among my rounds, I went to many stores. I think I only bought from 3 stores, but I did find some like old gems that I was kind of looking for from the fall time. It's like when it's Candle Day prices and you can use a coupon on it, why not? Let me shove it in the bag and stock up. So that is today's haul, and we'll get right into it. As for my store experience, this time around, Saturday was definitely much busier and much larger crowds in all the stores. Checkout lines were like crazy in many of the stores. So today definitely was a lot more steady and heavy than yesterday. So it seems like Saturday is definitely the busier day because it's a weekend, people are off. But despite that, I would say most of everything that was available on day 1 was still available on day 2. So like, I guess maybe in years in the future, like you could probably get away with just going on day 2 and just do one trip. And also on day 2, most of the Hibernation Station like refill priorities were out right from the get-go in the morning, so that was awesome. So it's kind of like you could get everything you still wanted from day 1, but then also get all the later replenishment ones, so it's kind of good to go there. But yeah, definitely longer checkout lines and all that kind of stuff, but still no lines to get into the store. I guess they're not really hitting like capacity, and they're not as strict again with the COVID restrictions like years past, so you can just go into the store and just come back out. Like I would say most of the time I would leave empty-handed, just walk in, check out to see if they had anything new, and if they didn't, walk right back out. So a lot of it is like you're driving around just to get nothing, but it's part of the hunt and part of the fun, right? And it's like Candle Day only comes once a year for 2 days for the candle community, and it is our holiday, so we might as well just go out there and have fun with it. So that is what I did. So here is my haul. So last night I went to my local store, and they were already starting to put out all the Hibernation Station fabric collection, which is the fresh coconut, cotton, and pistachio toasted vanilla collection. So I snagged those last night, and I'll haul them right now. So the first one we have is indeed pistachio and toasted vanilla, and that's what that looks like. It is a textured wraparound label that kind of looks like a carpet or a rug, and then it has the gold lid on it. This one is salted pistachios, toasted vanilla almonds with natural essential oils. This one has the massive sized core wicks, with this one, the issue with this is going to be the major sootage that's going on. I think it's burning right now back there, and just from here I can see the puffs of soot just like crazy despite trimming them very diligently. And the issue is these will burn hot for the first half, but then they'll usually nub out by the second half. It's like you just can't win. But that is BBW $9.95 candles for you. So of course, everybody was wondering if this was pistachio ice cream. I did not pick up the single wick, so I can't vouch for that fragrance, although it did smell very much like the 3-wick that I have. But I do have the 3-wick from the original like Mother's Day 2018 spring collection. That's what that looks like. Very fitting floral wallpaper label for a pistachio ice cream fragrance, right? This one was a roasted pistachio, frozen almond cream, and lush vanilla bean. Oh my god, this is so strong. This is so strong. It's almost like cloying and heavy. It kind of like just like makes me want to gag. There's some very rich creaminess to it mixed with the pistachio / their almond blend. Their almond fragrance tends to always lean kind of perfumey or sandalwood heavy for whatever reason. I don't know why it is. Their like Elements almond collection, or the Elements collection almond candle was very perfumey as well, which is very, very similar to the online exclusive almond blossom that comes out from time to time. And this one was sweet almond blossom, vanilla orchid, and sandalwood. And yeah, wow, this is even perfumier than this. This has a very heavy, almost like slightly grody, overpowering sandalwood and vanilla orchid presence that's pretty in some instances, but in sometimes it's a little bit too much that I'm like conflicted about it. But this is like definitely the heaviest, perfumiest version of all of these. This one's a little less perfumey and a little bit more heavy on the like very rich creaminess to it, that by comparison to this seems very rich and creamy, whereas I didn't really peg this as an ice cream fragrance, but by comparison, this is definitely richer and creamier and more like gooey vanilla heavy than the current version. So this is pistachio ice cream, just beyond strong when you go to burn it. And then now we have this version. So this is, I believe, not pistachio ice cream as it exists in the 3-wick originally. This is a lot more crumbly, a lot more dry. And yeah, it's not as ooey gooey as the pistachio ice cream, and it's not quite as heavy as it either. It's a little bit more dry and crumbly, and a little bit more salty, a little bit more cozy, and a little bit more like bakery, almost like cinnamon sugar covered almonds. You know how like sometimes you go to the fair or wherever they sell the like, you know, the cinnamon sugar dusted almonds. It's kind of like that. And I was like, I remember smelling a fragrance that always reminded me of cinnamon sugared almonds. And I was trying to rack my brain on the live last night and it wasn't hitting me. And then finally I was like, oh my God, that's what it was. It reminds me a whole lot of White Barn No. 1. Like I actually already burned the toasted pistachio vanilla thing last night for an hour or two. And I was like, oh, that's what it is. So this is spice, nutmeg, sugared cinnamon, and vanilla chestnut. Of course, this is an old, so it's a little bit hard to get a read on it. They're not the same fragrance, but a very similar cozy, like just cuddly vibe to it that gives you like a spiced nut, like cinnamon spiced nut type of fragrance, which this had a vanilla chestnut in it, and it kind of makes sense. This also had nutmeg and cinnamon, and I kind of get like a nutmeg spice blend in this here as well. I would feel like it's kind of like if you took White Barn No. 1 and added a little bit more pistachio or almond. That's kind of what this reminds me of, but very like sibling fragrances, and I loved White Barn No. 1. It used to be called Nutmeg and Spice originally before it got just transferred to White Barn No. 1, just period. But gave me very much similar vibes to that. Yeah, similarities between the two. This one's just a little bit stronger on that sort of like nutty almond pistachio blend. But I think I actually prefer this over pistachio ice cream, so much so that I burned this last night. I really enjoyed it, and so when I went to the store this morning, I picked up my second one, and so I actually kind of really enjoyed it. Very appropriate for the holiday in the sense that it is kind of cozy and like fall-like, but like still nutty and universal enough that you could burn it going into the spring. So I actually really dig this a lot more than I thought I would. So that was the pistachio and toasted vanilla fragrance right there. Moving on, we have fresh coconut and cotton, and I was super hyped about this. I really wanted this, so I bought 2 of these just right off the bat. It's coconut, coastal breeze, and beachside cotton. Has a thick rope-like wicks. I burned this last night during our Instagram live, and it was just, oh my gosh, so strong. Just like choked me out, like beyond strong. Like it filled this entire living room like immediately, and it lingered for a little bit afterwards. Like it was suffocating me because I was sitting in such close proximity to it during the live that I was just like, oh God, this is so strong. But I would rather have that than an unscented candle, so I'm not complaining. But oh my God, this is excellent. This is this is exactly the single wick, but in 3-wick format. The single wick was quite strong itself for a single wick, so you can imagine the 3-wick is also very strong as well. I really enjoy this. It just kind of reminds me of like the Beach Cabana type of fragrances, where Beach Cabana one year had like a fluffy white towel note to it, and it has like a, you know, coastal, beachy air, like orange blossom type of vibe also paired with it. And this smells just like the body care in the single wick, so if you like that, definitely check out the 3-wick. But it's nice. It has a crisp, almost like a warm out of the drier cotton fragrance that I really enjoy, but it's still sort of crisp and clean at the same time, but then it's mixed with like this slightly floral coconut blend that gives it like this beachy, tropical vibe to it, and I just really enjoy that. It takes me to like white crisp linen sheets in like a luxury oceanside hotel, where you go out on the balcony and the waves are crashing and you open it and for some reason they like freshly laundered the sheets and it kind of smells like that, but then you also have like a hot musky like suntan like rubbing all over you. It's just excellent. I would love to go on a romantic beach trip to said hotel and burn this candle while that was going, and it just gives like clean cotton vibes, but like just this sort of like hot musky cotton humidity to it that I really enjoy. So fresh coconut and cotton, got 2 of those, very strong. The thing with like releases like this, it's just hard because normally I just try to buy 1 of the candle, but with Candle Day, there's a potential they could like just completely sell out, and because with Candle Day, it's less risk for them to put out risky fragrances because they can just sell them out for $9.95 anyways, that it's kind of hard, like you don't know if this is going to come back or not. So for some of these, like if I really like it, I try to just get 2 and lock it in, and I could exchange it potentially afterwards if I don't end up liking it. So I did get 2 fresh coconut and cotton right here. These 2 were like on top of my list, so very excited to see that. So that was last night's haul. So then I woke up this morning and went to my other local store to see if they would have the like leather collection, and they were fully out. So I got 2 pink rose and leather for the same reasons of I don't know if this is gonna like come back again, and it's $9.95 to $7.95, let me lock it in. So that's what that looks like right there. It is another textured wraparound that's supposed to look like leather and has the gold lid on it. This one says supple leather, blooming rose petals, and comforting patchouli with natural essential oils. Has the thick rope-like wicks on it, and that's what that looks like. This is nice. It's very high-end luxury fragrance dupe type of fragrance that recalls, it's not this, but recalls the vibe that you get from Dark Velvet Oud from that failed Geometric Test collection. Because this one also, this is much more perfumey, much more feminine, and much more rose heavy, and I love that. I prefer this over the pink rose and leather, but a similar like high-end luxury rose fragrance that I really enjoy, with a little bit more of those like deeper notes that you get from fine fragrance is very much in this as well. Davit on Instagram, who is like a luxury fragrance connoisseur and also loves these type of fragrances, was saying it could be the Tom Ford Rose Prick fragrance is what this could be a dupe of. I've smelled Rose Prick in the past before, but I don't have like a close intimacy with the fragrance, so I don't remember at all what the fragrance is, but it could potentially be that, but I can't confirm or deny that. But in any case, what does it smell like past that? Very heavy on the leather fragrance for sure. And it's a more realistic leather fragrance than the leather that you get in Leather and Brandy. This is a lot more like quote-unquote masculine cologne for sure. Yeah. Whereas this one, because the rose is still in there, it makes it a little bit more feminine, but also potentially could be unisex as well because the leather is so strong. But with the leather, there is still a underlying soft floral rose presence to it that I enjoy. If this was much stronger on the leather, I probably wouldn't enjoy it so much, and I kind of wish the rose was a little bit stronger, but there's enough of the rose in the background that I do enjoy it, and it's just smells very like high-end luxury dupe fragrance. I'm assuming that's probably what it is. Usually when we get like fragrances like this, they tend to be dupes of higher-end fragrances. So if you like Dark Velvet Oud, similar vibe to it, or the Patchouli and Rosewood from the Ingredients Plus collection, similar vibe to that as well, but I think this is new for at least Bath & Body Works, so I do enjoy that. It's nice to get like more sophisticated high-end blends, and they kind of usually like sneak these in either test collections or lower risk collections such as like a Candle Day or SAS release, so I do appreciate them still throwing us a bone and giving us something like this. So Pink Rose and Leather, I did indeed snag 2 of those. Moving on from that collection, I also had Afternoon Rainfall as well. This one clearly is blue, and that's what that looks like. This one has the textured lid, but the rose one did not. This is soft raindrops tapping on your window, fresh aloe blossoms, and a hint of musk. This one also has the thick rope-like wigs on it, and that's what that looks like. This is nice. I like this. I appreciate that it's not cologne, it's not super soapy, and it's not clean. It's not your obvious like Rainfall fragrance. I mean, obviously it's a fantasy interpretation of Rainfall. It doesn't have that, like, a lot of people ask for the Rainfall hitting the pavement type of fragrance. I don't think it's quite that. This is a little bit more like a sweeter, softer fantasy version of that for sure. But I enjoy it. There's almost like a slight, like a sweet grassy, like a dewy grassy element to it, as if there was rain falling on like grass, but it's not full blown like fresh mowed grass or anything like that, but an implication of something sort of green and dewy, which could also be the aloe as well. And there's also quite a bit of like a natural sweetness to it that kind of evokes either like a apple skin or like a honeydew fragrance or like a melon, but don't think of like the super artificial candied apple or melon we would get from like pink apple punch or sour melon drop. It's a little bit more like the skin or just like a very natural, not quite so ripe, juicy like melon or apple fragrance is kind of in there. But it's nice. I would say that Springtime in Paris candle maybe was a little bit similar to this and that kind of like shampoo-y quality to it. But that was, I think, a little bit more perfumey and sweeter than this is. This one's a little bit more natural and tame, and I do appreciate that. So I'm actually kind of excited to burn this one. It's not super strong on cold, but I actually like it more than I thought I would. I'm glad it's not an obvious cologne or like soapy fragrance that we normally get from BBW when it comes to stuff like this. Like it is not as soapy or harsh as the Fresh Spring Morning, which I believe was that freshwater aloe fragrance. It's not quite as like harsh and intense as that. It's a little bit more softer and sweeter, so I do like that. So Afternoon Rainfall right there. Palo Santo was also in that collection, and then in this collection was also Cuddle Weather and Cozy Cashmere. And then I also got Ginger Lime Twist. I was like, I need to get to a coupon. I don't love this fragrance, but it's new, so let me just shove it in there and call it a day. This is Fresh Lime Zest, Fizzy Ginger Beer, and Crushed Mint Leaves. Also thick rope-like wigs with white wax on this one. Yeah, this is just alright. It's not like my favorite type of fragrance. There's that like dirty greenness to it that kind of reminds me of like what cilantro smells like. Kind of that in there mixed with, I guess maybe that's what the ginger is supposed to be. It's like a slightly like sharp or spicy in like a green type of way. It's definitely in there. You get that lime in there as well. It comes off a little bit soapy, similar to that lime that you would get in Sparkling Limeade, if you remember that. But very much in the fragrance family of, yeah, mint in here for sure as well. Same fragrance family as Juniper and Gin and Frosted Moscow Mule. Frosted Moscow Mule is a lot more like Sprite in a sweet, zesty, like drink type of fragrance. It's definitely sweeter and zestier. And Juniper and Gin was just kind of weird. I never actually owned that, so I'm not really intimate with that, but similar vibe to that. I would say this one's maybe a little bit more green and herbal than Frosted Moscow Mule. It's not quite as like soda fizzy sweet as Frosted Moscow Mule. But if you enjoy Juniper and Gin or Frosted Moscow Mule, very much falls in line to that type of fragrance category. So Ginger Lime Twist right there. It's alright, but I probably wouldn't have picked it up if it wasn't a regular release, not Candle Day at like enticing prices. And I think that was it for the morning haul. And then so I drove around just to see what was going on, to see if I could find like the Blueberry Marshmallow Bar or the Amethyst and the Vivid Emerald collection or whatever. Couldn't find any of those. But I did find some like older fragrances that I was just like excited to find. And so I was kind of on the hunt for Spiced Pumpkin and Patchouli, and I found it at one store. There were like 4 of them. The thing with this is like this glass jar is being used for white tea and jasmine currently. So every store I would go into, I'd be like, oh my god, it's Spiced Pumpkin and Patchouli, but it isn't. It's always white tea and jasmine. And in the one store where I was like, oh my god, is it Spiced Pumpkin and Patchouli? It actually was. So I did grab that just because I was like kind of excited to see it. So I was raving about this in my rundown video. Rich pumpkin, warm patchouli, and a touch of cinnamon sugar. Excellent. Love it. It's like the perfect like craft store pumpkin clove, sweet cinnamon pumpkin spice fragrance with like this heavy, damp, slightly like mature men's cologne patchouli fragrance that just has like this dampness and almost like a wet, earthy quality to it that I really enjoy. It's like a mysterious vibe to it that's perfect for October into November. And strong throw, very strong throw, a little bit sooty, but strong throw all the way down to the bottom. And I was just like, I don't know if this is gonna come back, but it's one of their better, slightly more sophisticated take on their traditional pumpkin spice fragrance. So I was actually quite excited to see that. So Spiced Pumpkin and Patchouli right there. I went to one of those desolate mall, abandoned mall, empty corridors, and BBW is like the only like hustling, bustling store in the mall type of stores. And of course, those stores have a lot of the older stock, and so of course they had like a single spring candle there as well, and they had quite a bit of fall candles. And I was doing a top 6 fragrances for Candle Day that I was recommending to new people, or even for like, you know, non-new people as well, that I never uploaded. But in that video, I did film it, and I was like, Marshmallow Fireside is a really good one. And then I was also saying in the video that I don't actually own Marshmallow Fireside, and I was like, I wouldn't mind finding one. And so I did find one in this collection, which seemed like it was the strongest on cold. I have no idea how this is going to perform, because Marshmallow Fireside has been notoriously lighter in recent years than previous, but this smelled the strongest on cold. So I was like, let me get this. I know there's current holiday versions out there, but this one smells very strong on cold. And it had the core wicks on it, so I'm hoping that will do a little bit better than the rope-like ones that kind of dud out on Marshmallow Fireside. So I did get that. Toasted marshmallow, smoldering woods, fire roasted vanilla, and crystallized amber. Freaking delicious, love it. Everybody knows this. It's like this ooey gooey marshmallow velvety texture mixed with like a roasted, fiery vanilla fragrance that I really enjoy. It's so cozy, awesome, and delicious. Everybody knows Marshmallow Fireside. It's an excellent fragrance, and I've had it for like many years. So I was like, okay, I'll get that. And lastly, because Blueberry Marshmallow Bar was on the top of mind for all of us out there, I was like, where's Blueberry Marshmallow Bar? And then in that store, I found a stash of blueberry cotton candy. And we were talking about, like, what could a Blueberry Marshmallow Bar be? And if you look at the notes of that, it's very similar to the notes of Blueberry Cotton Candy. The issue with this was plagued with that garlic ranch dressing lid on this, that every time I smell it, there's like a buttery garlic ranch butter, like dipping sauce you would get at Papa John's or something, vibe to the lid that is really weird. But I was like, I wonder if Blueberry Marshmallow Bar could potentially be this, and if and when I find Blueberry Marshmallow Bar, it would be fun to be able to compare and contrast to Blueberry Cotton Candy, and see if it's a repackage or how similar they are. So I did get it because I was just like, I'm curious. I never owned this during the current season, and it's here for Candle Day, and I was like, let me just throw it in there because Blueberry Marshmallow Bar mania is like upon us. So I got Blueberry Cotton Candy. Yeah, it's like a very sweet, like a juicy blueberry with like a garlic butter ranch vanilla creaminess underneath. I don't know if that's the lid or if this fragrance is just that weird. I'm kind of curious to see how it translates when it's burning, but we'll see if this is Blueberry Marshmallow Bar or not. Like, this could potentially be marshmallow, so I don't know. We'll see. So that was that right there. Kind of similar to the Blueberry Sugar Pancakes body care as well. And then lastly, because I've been hauling my ass off so much with all these candles, I racked up a reward. And I was like, I'm just like, just completely like just drowning in shower gel. I don't use the lotion or the fine fragrance mist. And since Bourbon came out in a matching candle, I was like, let me celebrate that by getting a travel size men's cologne, which I actually have been using a lot of these men's cologne a lot more now. So I was like, oh, let me get Bourbon and give that a try for free. So that's what I redeemed with my reward. Surprisingly nicer when you actually use it on your skin than it is in bottle or on candle on cold. So I actually kind of enjoyed this when it actually like meshed with my skin chemistry. So not bad. Actually not bad. So Bourbon right there. And that was it. So yes, let me know how you guys did on day 2. I'm all Candle Day out, so I have my fill of candles. I don't need to be driving around to any more BBWs anymore, except for my local one for whenever they get Blueberry Marshmallow Bar and the rest of the last priority candles to come in. But so glad to everybody who did find the hidden gems and the last priority stuff on that list. Totally happy for you guys, and it was a very fun event, and I was kind of bummed about it yesterday, but I'm happy with the newness that came out today, so we're good to go there. So happy Candle Day to everybody. Hope you got everything you wanted from Candle Day, and if not, there'll be new stuff coming out later down the line from one company or another, so we'll do that. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.